Shalom, friends. Welcome. It's good and it is important to be together. This solemn occasion, this time of remembrance, Congregation Beth Israel is really pleased to be able to welcome you as host this year, thanking the Oregon Board of Rabbis and the Oregon Jewish Museum Center for Holocaust Education for sponsoring this annual event. We are clear that in this time of rising anti-Semitism, that memory is more important than ever. We continue to recognize what Shoah represents as the very definition of genocide, as an example that can never be repeated. It is important that we honor today the survivors, those who have told their story, and many of the survivors we'll be honoring today continue to speak at the Speakers Bureau for Ojemchi and teach the students and teach the generations who don't really know the story. And it is so important. These eyewitness accounts, these first-person stories are so meaningful. And today we honor Zachor, such an important concept in Judaism. We are the holders of memory, as the Jewish people have been the holders of memory for thousands of years. We've remembered joyful experiences, and we remember the darkest experiences in human history. And that is our mission, to be the one who hold the memory, to be the one who tell the stories. And may we continue to honor those who tell these stories.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Oregon Jewish Museum and Center for Holocaust Education's board and staff, I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening as we gather to commemorate Yom HaShoah. I'd also like to offer my gratitude to the Oregon Board of Rabbis, all of the clergy that are here with us this evening, and the current chair of the Oregon Board of Rabbis, Rabbi Jonathan Seidel. In addition, heartfelt thanks to Congregation Beth Israel for hosting us this evening, and its clergy who are here with us tonight, Rabbi Michael Kahana, Cantor Ida Ray Kahana, Rabbi Rachel Joseph, and Cantor Raina Green. As Rabbi said, it's impossible to gather to commemorate Yom HaShoah this evening without acknowledging the stark and fraught times that we are experiencing right now, with the significant increase and rise of anti-Semitism throughout the United States and around the world. These times lay bare how truly important it is for us all to support one another, because when our community works together, we are stronger. OJM-CHE remains steadfast in its commitment to educate and to teach the enduring and relevant lessons of the Holocaust, while striving to create a world that upholds and values truth, history, and justice. Our community's commemoration of Holocaust Remembrance Day will continue tomorrow with Unto Every Person There Is a Name, our Yom HaShoah reading of the names. OJMCHE will be in Pioneer Courthouse Square from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We welcome everyone who would like to join us to listen to the recitation of the names throughout the day. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you again to Congregation Beth Israel for this very, very important evening. Thank you to the Oregon Jewish Museum Center for Holocaust Education. Welcome, everybody. I have a short poem to read that is written by Herschel Zeineberg that struck me as very powerful and very relevant for this evening. The darkness still hung over the surroundings. The sad sky still hung over the ghetto. A small wind flew with the storm and left further without any rush or fuss. The evening left us and went on its way. A frosty early morning came in replacement. An unusual fog announced a problem, a day of pain, suffering, theft, murder. A dead stillness awaited the Molech HaMavis. The heart stopped, the blood boiling. A voice pleaded, Shema Yisroel, that the enemy's footsteps be destroyed. Suddenly, a scratching noise was heard. A boot was moving in the frosty snow. The father bit his lip. The mother cried out in pain. An old person sighed bitterly. A young fist bent with fury. For a third time, the terrible times made us tremble, and that froze with fright. And once again, the white snow turned red. The brown heart's face blazed. Victorious, they faced death, crying out triumphant. Not seizing the morning, not how a day has started, because the devil was choking me and hurting me. Yiskor! Today I remember all that I suffered. I see souls in silk clothes, and there, with the righteous in Gan Eden, our dear ancient Yiddishkeit. Zachor.
I'm going to sing the Yiddish partisan song. The words were written by a young man named Hirsch Glick back in Lithuania. And this song has always been very important to the survivors at these events. And I'm going to dedicate this especially to my friends Evelyn Banko and Eva Eigner, and the memory of Les Eigner and Miriam Greenstein, for whom this song meant everything. I'd like you to try to sing along. When I learned this song, there was no Wikipedia, but you can look it up in Wikipedia and get the translation and read all about it afterwards. But try to sing it with me if you can. Sag nit keinmal, als du gehst den letzten Weg. Gott Himmeln bleine verstellen bleie Tag. Kommen weg nach unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abbeugt und unser Trott, wir sehnen da. Kommen weg nach unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abbeugt und unser Trott, wir sehnen da. Von grünem Palmenland bis weißem Land von Schnee. Wir kommen mit unser Pein, mit unser Weg. Und wo gefallen ist ein Spritz von unser Blut. Spritzen wird dort unser Gure, unser Mut. Und wo gefallen ist ein Spritz von unser Blut. Spritzen wird dort unser Gure, unser Mut. Es wird die Morgensumba gilden uns dem Heid. Und der Nächten wird verschwinden mit dem Feind. Nur euch versammeln wird die Sonne in der Kajor. Wie ein Parol soll gehen das Lied von Dor zu Dor. Nur euch versammeln wird die Sonne in der Kajor. Jahr. Wie a Parol soll gehen das Lied von Dor zu Dor. Das Lied geschrieben ist mit Blut und nicht mit Blei. Es ist nicht kein Lied von a Feger läuft frei. Das hat Volk zwischen fallen dicke Welt. Das Lied gesungen mit ner Gannes in die Hand. Das hat Volk zwischen fallen dicke Welt. Das Lied gesungen mit ner Gannes in die Hand. Da sag nicht heimol, als du gehst dem letzten Weg. Gott Himmeln bleine verstellen bläue Tag. Kommen weg noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abweckt und unser Trott, wir sehnen da. Kommen weg noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird abweckt und unser Trott, wir sehnen da. Our steps will make a drum beat. We are here.
We light 7 candles. We light 7 candles tonight. Our survivors will be accompanied by clergy, by rabbis in support and recognition that not only have they survived, they've continued to teach and inspire us every moment with their lives, a life of hope with kids and grandkids and education. So we light this candle, each candle, for tikva, for hope. We're all here, we're Zanendo. It's so beautiful that we're here to light these candles. How powerful, how meaningful. 7 candles, 7 days of the week. You can think of all the beautiful meanings of 7. And tonight, the 7 is in memory. I want to introduce our first candle lighter. It's Evelyn Benko. Evelyn was born in Vienna, Austria in 1936. When she was 2 years old, the Nazis seized the country. In an attempt to escape rising violent anti-Semitism, Evelyn's family made arrangements to flee the country as quickly as possible. After a series of failed attempts to secure affidavits for residency in the United States, Evelyn and her parents escaped Vienna for Riga, Latvia, with a tourist visa under the pretense of a family vacation. After the Russian invasion of Latvia in June 1940, Evelyn and her parents were 3 out of 1,500 people granted permission to leave the country with the help of HaShoah, Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. In September 1940, the group traveled through Russia on the Trans-Siberian Railway. They transferred to other trains to pass through Manchuria, China, and later Kobe, Japan, before boarding a Japanese ship en route to the US. They eventually settled in Portland, where Evelyn has lived ever since. She's the mother of 2 children and a grandmother of 2. Evelyn is a retired teacher and frequently speaks about her experiences as a child refugee. We're so glad that you're here. Let's light the first.
The second candle is lit in remembrance of those concentrated into ghettos and camps. Eva Aigner was born in Czechoslovakia after the Nazis implemented discriminatory laws, and Eva's father's business license was taken away. Her family moved to Budapest. In 1943, Eva's father was imprisoned in a forced labor camp where he died. Eva, her mother, and sisters were removed to the Budapest ghetto. One night, the Arrow Cross soldiers took their mother from the ghetto to the train station, where she was put on a transport headed toward the concentration camps. In December 1944, Eva, her sister, and many others were ordered by the Hungarian Arrow Cross soldiers to march to the Danube's waterfront. The soldiers shot the Jews and watched as their bodies fell into the river. Their mother escaped the deportation train, and with her heroic efforts and bribes, miraculously was able to find and save her children from being murdered. The three of them survived the rest of the war in the Budapest ghetto. Eva's extended family did not survive the Holocaust. In 1956, Eva and her husband Les escaped Hungary from the communist regime with a desire to build a new family in a free country, and have been living happily in Portland ever since. Her husband, Leslie Aigner, was born in 1929 in Czechoslovakia. In the early 1940s, his family moved to Budapest, hoping to avoid the Nazis. In 1943, his father and 16-year-old sister were taken for slave labor. In 1944, at the age of 15, Leslie, his mother, and younger sister were deported to Auschwitz. Upon arrival, the mother and sister were gassed. Leslie survived because he was able to work. He was put to forced labor in the Landsberg camp, where he worked on Nazi war machinery. Somehow he survived typhus and a death train to Dachau. When he was liberated on April 29, 1945, he weighed 75 pounds. It took a month under medical treatment before he was able to walk. After liberation, Leslie returned to his home and discovered that most of his family members had been murdered. Eva and Les were married for 65 years. They have a son and a daughter, 4 grandsons, and 5 great-grandchildren, all born in the United States after they emigrated from Hungary.
Thank you for reciting our history, because tonight is all about remembering. And I am wearing a pin in Hebrew which says, Zokor, remember. And today is the day we have to remember all our loved ones who perished in the Holocaust. And we were all good, God-loving people, yet the rest of the world saw us differently. And I think in today's world, we really have to be strong and have to be hopeful that these things will never happen again. And this is why I'm part of the Speakers Bureau, and so are my children. We are speakers, both my son and daughter, because we figure we have to let the young generation know, because hate comes from the parents, how they were taught, and we have to break this cycle. I'm sad to say that so many people were killed who were innocent, but yet we survived, and I know we will survive this crisis too. Thank you.
Ashrei hakafrur shenizrav v'hitzit lehavot. Ashrei haleava shebara b'sitrei levavot. שיענדו לחדול בכבוד. אשרי הגפרור שנשרף, שנשרף והציד להבות. אשרי הלהבה שברא בסתרי לבבות. אשרי הגפרור שנשרף, שנשרף והצית להבות. Blessed is the match consumed in a kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that softly burns in a heart's sacred place. Blessed the hearts that, like flickering lights, knew to flutter and die without shame. Blessed is the match consumed in a kindling flame.
The third candle is in remembrance of those murdered in the former Soviet Union. It will be lit by Mark Atlas. Mark Atlas was born in Kalinkovichi, Belarusia in 1940. When he was barely a year and a half, the German army attacked the former Soviet Union. Mark's father was killed a few years later. His mother fled to the east with Mark, his newborn baby sister, and an elderly grandmother arriving in the small town of Chuvashia in the eastern part of the Volga River. The place they lived was overcrowded with refugees, and constant hunger and cold were Mark's first memories. In 1945, the family returned to Belarusia to find that everyone from Mark's entire extended family who couldn't escape had been murdered by the Nazis. His pre-war home was in ruins, and he recalls severe food shortages and rationing. In 1991, Mark escaped Russia, moving to the US as a Jewish refugee and being resettled in Portland. Mark says that he and his loved ones who survived the war never complained about their sufferings. He knows the alternative was much worse, to be killed by the Nazis, as his relatives, including children and elderly, were killed in the outskirts of his town in a big ravine where the local Jewish community of people, Holocaust survivors, later installed a modest monument without any support and acknowledgement from the Soviet government.
The fourth candle is in remembrance of the children, those who were murdered and those who survived. Inga Hugerhaus is a member of the Oregon Jewish Museum and Center for Holocaust Education Speakers Bureau, sharing her mother's story of surviving the Holocaust in Holland, as well as the effects of generational trauma from her grandmother's death in Auschwitz. She is also director of admissions at Northwest Academy and a singer-songwriter.
I speak on behalf of my grandmother, Rebecca Franschmann, who was killed in Auschwitz in 1943. I speak on behalf of my mother, Selina Kuna Hogerhuis, who has never been able to tell her story out loud. So I feel like it's my duty to stay to tell that story. And I speak to young audiences because I want to remind them to ask their parents and their grandparents their family stories, whether they're Jewish or not, because it's important to know where you came from and to know what's been passed down to you. Thank you.
This fifth candle has been lit in remembrance of those incarcerated in labor camps by Rosalind Cliat. So Rosalind Cliat, an infant survivor, was born just prior to the end of the war. In April of 1945 in Lodz, Poland, after her parents' courageous escape from Gold Hills Camp, which was a sub-camp of the Kluga concentration camp in Estonia. At the time of her birth, parts of Poland were still occupied by the Nazis. Before they met, Rosalind's parents, Vera and Leon, were imprisoned in the Vilna ghetto with their respective families. In 1943, Rosalind's parents were deported to Kluga, where they met and fell in love. In September 1944, they escaped from Gold Hills, a subcamp of Kluga, with 18 other prisoners. Rosalind's mother was the only woman to escape. They traveled by train and foot back to Vilna to find their families had been murdered. Rosalind was born a few months after leaving Vilna and arriving at Lodz. After the war, Vera, Leon, and Rosalind settled in Skokie, Illinois, in a community of fellow survivors and refugees. In her adulthood, Rosalind has worked as a vocational rehabilitation counselor, a consultant, a vocational forensic expert witness at federal hearings, a guest lecturer at Portland State Graduate School of Counseling Education and Southern Oregon University, a practicing artist, and has been published in various journals and newspapers. Rosalind's memoir, My Father's Book, is archived and digitally available in the library of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., and at the Tualatin Public Library in Tualatin, Oregon.
Thank you. You did great. I want to say that I speak and am considered an educator, and with the Oregon Jewish Museum Speakers Bureau, for my family. I'm speaking for those who were not allowed to have a life to speak. I also speak because I want to let people know that this is what happens from hate. Genocide did not start with bombs and bullets. It started with hate. It started with words. It started with silence. So I continue to speak so that I am not one of the silent ones.
Thank you.
שלא ייגמר לעולם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם החול והים רשרוש של המים ברק השמיים תפילת האדם. My Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the water, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the water, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
Naomi Durner and Veronica. Naomi is the grandchild of 4 Holocaust survivors. Oh, the 6th candle is in honor of survivors everywhere and their families who carry their legacy with them. Her maternal grandparents fled Warsaw, Poland in October 1939 and stayed in Russia until the end of the war. Her paternal grandmother survived the Budapest ghetto, and her paternal grandfather survived forced labor camps and 2 camps including Mauthausen. Naomi serves on the Board of Trustees of Congregation Beth Israel, on the Speakers Bureau of the Oregon Jewish Museum Center for Holocaust Education, and on the Executive Committee of the Next Generations Group. She's the founder of 3G Pacific Northwest, a new affiliate of Living Links, the first nationwide organization created to empower grandchildren of Holocaust survivors. Naomi is accompanied by her daughter, Veronica. Veronica graduated Northwest Academy in 2023 and is currently a freshman studying theater at UCLA.
We are accustomed to the 6 candles representing the 6 million Jews who perished during Shoah. But some years ago, we found it important to add a 7th candle to include those who perished with us, those who were seen as undesirable, as expendable, as unnecessary. And we honor all who perished. Chana Pastoris is an artist, activist, avid reader, cat lover, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's been connected to the Jewish community in Portland through Jewish Family and Child Service, through whom she receives services. Chana has done a good deal of reading and self-study and research on the Holocaust. While it's not easy to learn about the horrors and unspeakable atrocities, she feels passionately that they must be spoken about. She's found that history is really about the stories of the people, the trauma, the loss, and also the rebuilding of life. As a result of her studies and life experiences, she believes that we must not feel insignificant because we don't love the right gender, or because we are not able-bodied, the right color, the right religion, the right political party, the right nationality in the eyes of others. We must honor those who have died and survived by continuing our right to simply exist.
I'll ask those who are able to please rise.
El Malerachamim Shochen Bamramim Hamsei Menucha Nechona B'tzel Kanfei HaShechina B'malut Kedushim Utorim Kizahar Harakia Meirim Umazehirim Epnishmut Acheinu Ve'achyoteinu Shenhergu V'shenishchatu V'shenishrefu Chayim Al Kiddush Hashem B'advur Shekulanu Kol Bnei Yisrael Mityachadim Im Zichrom HaKadosh ומתפללים בעד עליית נשמותיהם כנפיו לעולמים. ויצרור פצרי חיים את נשמותיהם. ארץ את תכסי דמם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר אמן.
Remain standing as we honor the memories of all those who perished in the Shoah, as we lift up their spirits, as we carry their stories with us into the future. We join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon of yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam ul amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'am yiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Zichanam levarcha, may all of their memories be for a blessing.
As I invite all of the sweet singers of Israel to come up and join us, we'll also ask those of you here to please join us in singing Ani Ma'amin. And I want to take this moment to thank Michael Allen Harrison for his beautiful piano and Michelle Alani for her soulful violin. Thank you so much to everyone.
Ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, ani ma'amin, be'emunah shelema, be'vi'yad HaMashiach, be'vi'yad HaMashiach, ani ma'amin. ואף על פי שיתמהמה, עם כל תודה אני מאמין. אני מאמין.
we go.